Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. Really sad about today's video. So if you didn't watch my Thursday's Thirsty Thoughts this week, go watch that. But also, Pariah, in real life, Pariah just announced today that they have to close. And so I'm like, well, of course, I have one Pariah beer left. They sent me two of these Chars. First one blew my mind. It's so amazing. Got talking to some of the beer guys, and like Matt from Massive Beer Reviews was like, "Man, that Char was so good." It's like, yeah, that was. It was like, he said it was the best of the style, and it's amazing. It was one of the top beers I had in 2023. It made my top end of the year list. So I was waiting for it to be a year old to do a Cellar Saturday with it. It's I think like 9-ish months old at this time. So it's not really Cellar Saturday like how I usually do it, but because of the circumstances and everything, I'm going to do it right now. And it's kind of funny because I just referenced the Thursday's Thirsty Thoughts video, which I have not shot yet because I'm going to shoot it after I do this review so I can sip this beer and talk about stuff. So yeah, it's... I commented on their Instagram post, but I'm going to send Brian a email as well. I thought, since they moved to Pittsburgh, oh my God, since they moved to Baltimore, that they really figured out the system and they were just cranking them out. So I feel really bad because they were making some great beers. But yeah, so I'm trying not to be sad or whatever, but definitely a brewery I liked. But go watch that Thursday video, and I'll wait for that stuff in that video, or put that stuff in that video. All right, so let me talk more about it. It's called Char. And it's American Strong Ale aged in rye whiskey barrels, 12.7% ABV. This one, I'm serving this at 55 degrees. This says start at more like 38 to 45 degrees in this shape of a glass. So that's why I picked this glass, but it is a little bit warmer. But I like this style a little bit warmer than their recommendation. It's brown with a good amount of red in there, especially where it's a little thinner. You can see through a little bit, but it's not like completely see-through, obviously. About half a finger ahead. It's very light khaki kind of color. It just looks beautiful. Let's get into the aroma. So many caramelized sugar notes. I mean, caramel specifically, but then just other, ways that maybe, like toasted bread, all sorts of ways that you can kind of get that caramelized sugar note. It has so many. You do get the whiskey nicely. Some oak is coming through. A little bit of molasses. It doesn't dip into an umami smell, but like it's, as I'm fond of saying, it just started the journey towards that, but it's not there at all. But like there's a little bit of balance that way to all the sweetness that I'm smelling, or the perception of sweetness. But the nose is still killer. Some dried fruit notes coming through. It does. It smells fantastic. This is probably going to be more of a love letter. And again, not just because they closed, but because this beer is awesome. So let's get into it. Cheers. Yeah, this is amazing. I didn't smell any alcohol. I got a little bit of the whiskey. And the taste has a very appropriate amount of the alcohol coming through. And it should in a beer like this, Given the ABV, given the style, I should get a little bit of booze interwoven with everything else. It is like the aroma, so many different caramelized sugar notes. A little bit of like date and fig. There is that caramel thing. Brown bread, toasted brown bread to kind of keep that thread going. Slight molasses. Some nice cherry coming through for sure. Sprinkling of like cocoa powder. The aftertaste, a little bit more oak. I do get a little bit of oak in the sip for sure. The aftertaste is where it's for me the easiest to get oak specifically. The level of the whiskey taste, very nice in this beer. Definitely there, but not overpowering either. You get the beeriness of it, but it is barrel aged and you get enough of the barrel. It's pretty harmonious, and it's a pretty good balance of the beer shining through, like the base beer, and then the barrel aging is also able to shine through. They don't contradict each other. They don't step on each other's toes. It's one of the reasons I like this beer so much is it again, to use that word, harmonious. It's just everything is coming together awesome. I mean, as the name suggests, you do get some chariness in there. You know that cherry, and it's funny because in a different beer, and I'm drawing a blank on what, it was a recent review I did, when I got off camera and was finishing the beer, it was this cherry wood thing. And I was so mad that I didn't think of it on camera and I got it off camera. That cherry is a little interwoven. It's almost like cherry wood, and then you were using it to smoke meat or whatever, you know? Like it's got a little, not is overly smoky of an experience, but there's a little bit of there. Kind of interwoven with that chariness. All right, it's been 8 or 9 months since I've read the back, so let's see what they have to say. What you're holding is our rye barrel-aged American strong ale, Char, constructed from a huge base of heavily roasted crystal malts and potent American hops. This beer spent 4 weeks in stainless steel, then was transferred into first-use 8-year Maryland rye whiskey barrels, courtesy of our friends at Sagamore Spirits. The result is a deeply complex beverage with notes of cherry cordial. I mean, yeah, I talked about cherry and that sprinkling of cocoa powder, so like definitely the same thought there. Prune. My mind went more the fig date route, but you know, fair enough. Toasted oak for sure. Coconut and vanilla. You know what's funny? I don't get, well, it's not going to actually make you laugh funny. I thought about the coconut. I don't get a ton of it right now. Vanilla, I got a little bit. And that's what's funny because, and again, I'm not saying you're going to laugh out loud, but me being the vanilla police, right? Of course, I didn't get enough vanilla. But like there is I think there's a little bit more to read. But there is like a little bit of vanilla. But to me, it was so faint that I'm like trying to focus on some of the bigger flavors. But of course, I didn't think there was a ton of vanilla. We are thrilled to celebrate and pay tribute to the vast history of rye in our old line state. We hope you enjoy it as much as we do. I do. I love this beer. They knocked it out of the park. Actually, now I think about it, well, I'll save it for the other video. So yeah, make sure if you didn't watch Thursday's video, watch, because that's when I'm going to get all sappy. But yeah, great beer. Brian, if you happen to be watching, great beer. Still holds up. Awesome. Really glad and really happy that you sent me 2 so I could do this a second time and enjoy such an awesome and well-made beer a second time. So yeah, guys, this beer's awesome. Go to breweries. If you like breweries, go to those breweries. Spend your money, okay? Spend your hard-earned money on their hard-earned beverages. All right, thoughts? Have you had this beer before, this style before? You know, for a rye beer, I don't get a ton of that spicy rye thing I typically get, but they didn't mention that either in their tasting notes. So do you usually get more spiciness in your rye? You know, do you like that cherry thing I was talking about? I don't know. Anything, everything, comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. Once you're done doing that, make sure you check me out on Instagram and Untapped. It's No Hype Beer Reviews at both those places. Please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.